Kathy has some exciting news. In December, she officially became certified in brain health through Dr. Daniel Amen. She talks about thinking differently all the time, but did you know there are 11 things you can do to keep your brain healthy? Today, she's talking about how to take care of your brain.
Hello, my friends. Happy New Year to you. Happy 2024. And welcome to my kitchen. I used to do a lot of videos in my kitchen, but it's been a long time. So welcome. I think this week's topic is appropriately filmed right here in my kitchen. I'm Kathy Rhodes. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to think differently about brain health. What does brain health have to do with kitchen? You'll find out here in a minute. Before I share with you a lot of fun details, about a week ago, at the end of 2023, I passed a test. I am now a licensed brain health trainer under Dr. Daniel Amen. I am very, very excited about this license that I have. If you don't know who Dr. Daniel Amen is, definitely do a Google search. He's got podcasts and books and all the stuff. He is a very brilliant psychologist, psychiatrist, but he also does a lot of brain scans. If there's something wrong in our body, we usually do an x-ray or some kind of scan to figure out what's up. But do you really hear of people scanning your brain when you have any kind of brain injury? Maybe a true injury, but sometimes they're diseases that are telltale sign in our brain. And Dr. Daniel Amen has found this out through the years of scanning brains. So why did I choose this certification? How is it related to leadership and behavioral intelligence and emotional intelligence and thought intelligence and everything else that I teach? Well, I chose it because it connects with one of my value words, the word empower. I chose this certification because of how empowering this knowledge is. And I am so excited that I get to share it with you. Now, there's a lot that Dr. Daniel Amen has learned, and many different scientists and medical professionals have learned about our brain. So I'm just going to start at the beginning, but I'm going to have more of the podcast episodes related to how to create a healthy brain, how to fix a broken brain or a sick brain. Okay, but let's start out light. Let's start out some fun facts. Fun brain facts for you. Your brain is 2% of your body weight. 2% of your body weight makes up your brain. Now, that might not be many pounds or ounces, but okay, 2% of your body weight is your brain. Your brain also uses 20 to 30% of the calories that you intake throughout the day. That's a lot. When you consider everything that your body's doing, whether it's the heart function, the circulation, the digestive system, 20 to 30% of your calories is going straight to your brain. If you're calorie deficient, you're affecting your brain. That's an issue. 20% oxygen also is used in your brain. That's the whole blood flow that's going on. That's being used within your brain. Your brain also has the storage capacity of 6 million years of Wall Street Journal. That's a lot of content. That's how much we can store up here. Here's something else too. Your brain cells actually don't age. Our brain cells do not age. It's our blood vessels that age. Okay, there's some fun facts. Let me share with you 11 risk factors that go into creating a healthy brain. And it's really kind of easy to remember. Dr. Daniel Amen created an acronym, Bright Minds. BRIGHT-MINDS. These are actually 11 risk factors to a healthy brain. What are they? Well, B, blood flow. R, retirement and aging. I, inflammation. G, genetics. H, head trauma. T, toxins. M, mental health. I, immunity and infections. N, neurohormone deficiencies. D for diabetes, and S for sleep. These are the 11 risk factors that affect our brain. So what is good and bad for our brain related to these risk factors? Well, I'm so glad you asked. This is where we're going to get into my kitchen a little more, okay? I'm totally going to be honest. I have a cheat sheet because there's a lot of good stuff here. Let's start with B for blood flow. What's bad for our brain and what's good for our brain. So what do we do that can create poor blood flow? And what do we do that could create really good blood flow? Well, let's start with the bad. Okay, here's something that many people don't like to hear. Caffeine is not good for our blood flow. Now, I gotta be honest, because I know that sometimes when I get headaches, if I have some caffeine, it actually helps. And when you look at the science of it, it actually kind of opens your arteries and helps with that headache. But too much caffeine can restrict our blood flow. Not good for our brain because 20% of oxygen is going to our brain. We need really healthy blood flow. Some other areas here, nicotine, yeah, that's not good for our brain and the blood flow. Heart disease, well, heart disease is all about blood flow. Being sedentary, sitting around, working a desk job, not getting enough steps in the day, it's not good for the blood flow. I know, well, this morning it was about 26 degrees outside, and I went to the gym at 6 a.m. My jacket hangs in the garage, which is not heated, so it was chilly. That's where my shoes are too. I was chilly. By the time I came home after my workout, it was still 26 degrees out. It was still chilly. I didn't even want my jacket on because I got my blood flowing. When I'm chilly, if I move, if I go for a walk, it's good for my brain because the blood flow. What else is good for our brain? Well, here is where some food comes in, okay? So I'm going to show you some things, but of course exercise is good for our brain and the blood flow, coordination. God didn't give me much of that, but that's okay. I can get good at it through different exercises. Some different foods. Ginkgo is a food I don't have to show you, but here's one I do have to show you. Cacao chips, or cacao in any fashion. I love this new company called Creo Brew. I am not selling their stuff. I really love it though. I'm not a coffee drinker, but this is pure, 100% pure ground cacao. So what is this? The chai spice flavor. There's peppermint flavor. That's my favorite. That's my mom's favorite. There's some other flavors, but you kind of brew it like coffee and you add little flavoring, little creamer, if I could say. This is cacao. These are cacao chips that are 80% cacao. I believe, if I remember right, you want 70% or more of true cacao when you are using any kind of this chocolate yumminess. Really good for your brain. Really good for the blood flow. What else? Beets. I don't have any fresh beets. I just bought some canned beets. Love beets. Really good for blood flow. This is no surprise. Peppers, like hot peppers or cayenne pepper. Yeah, that gets us sweating when we eat it. Really good for blood flow. So consider what you do to get your blood flowing. What we want to do, obviously, is to help our brain, right? Okay, next one, retirement and aging. You can't help this. You just can't help aging. Every single day, every one of us is aging, right? But there is something to consider while you age that is not good for your brain, and that is high iron. Now, I remember when I think my daughter was born, my iron dipped so low. I had no energy. I think I was different colors. Low iron isn't good, and neither is high iron. So as you age, the thing to do to help your brain in this category is to get your iron checked. And I think when you go for a yearly physical, that's a common number that the doctor is looking for. But you want to know your numbers. You want to know what is good, what is bad, what is low, what is high. And if by chance your iron is too high, the fix is to give blood. Get rid of some of the blood, the iron, and that actually helps. So there's an easy fix. Okay, there's an easy fix to do, but you got to know your numbers. You got to be aware of it. All right, next one is I. I for inflammation. Well, what is not good for your brain related to inflammation? Low omega-3. Low omega-3 is not good. You want higher omega-3. So fish, eating fish at least once or twice a week is really good for your brain. Now, I personally also, because I do love fish, but I also take an omega-3 supplement. I don't take many supplements, and I'm really, through the years, I've been resistant to supplements just because I think we can overdo it in life. But when you get something good, like when you go get the good supplements, there's EPA and DHA in it that is very important to your body. You want to increase your omega-3s, especially as you age. What else? What else is bad for your brain related to inflammation? Processed food, leaky gut. Processed food can create leaky gut because there's nothing good in it. Not good. It creates inflammation. So if I'm telling you to avoid processed foods, what I'm really telling you to do is to embrace whole foods. Just whole foods, right? This is a whole orange, a sweet potato, an avocado, oh, good stuff for the brain, an apple. I mean, these are real foods. If you can go to the store and shop the outside aisles where the produce is, and the meats and the dairy and the frozen. Frozen's good too. A lot of vegetables are really good more in the frozen section because they keep the nutrients in the freezing technique. But anything whole, anything real, cooking from scratch is really, really good for you. And I know I grew up, in the 80s and when convenience was definitely a priority. And I raised 3 kids working full time. So processed food was a lifesaver sometimes, but I'm rethinking it and I'm reprioritizing the time I allow myself to cook. I need to cook if I want a healthy brain and if I want to avoid inflammation. What else? Oh, prebiotics and probiotics. There they are, prebiotics and probiotics. Here's a little secret. Prebiotics is kind of a newer term that's out there. It's fiber, okay? It's fiber. By the way, if you like to juice your foods, be careful because you're taking out a lot of the fiber. The apple skin is where the fiber is. A lot of things have their skin is that prebiotic necessity to decrease or avoid inflammation. Probiotics, yogurt. These are my yogurt parfaits. I make my own yogurt with Fairlife milk. It is the best milk. I want whole milk. And I add a little culture of yogurt, of Greek yogurt, and I do it in my pressure cooker. And then I add a little vanilla, and now I've got my fruit and a little honey on top, and that's about it. Yogurt, great probiotic. Kefir, that's great to add to yogurt when you're making a smoothie. Probiotics, very important. Decreases inflammation, increases our brain health. All right. G is for genetics. Well, you know what? I get what I get, right? Yeah, there's the bad part of it is family history, okay? But the good part, I don't even know if it's really good. I guess it's more of an encouragement. Don't get too caught up in your genes. Don't get too caught up and worried about what you inherited. Because you have more power in the choices you make that are going to affect your brain than the bad things your genes are going to bring to you. So don't get caught up. Be aware of it. Do what you got to do. But let it go and focus more on what you're empowered to focus on. And that's all the other 10 risk factors we're talking about here. Okay, H. H is for head trauma. What's bad for our brain? Concussions. Anytime we're hit on the head. So what can I do that's good for my brain to avoid head trauma? Well, wear helmets. Now, again, I'll be honest, I grew up as a downhill skier. I didn't even wear a hat on my head. I'm not going to wear a helmet. Come on, I'm tougher than this. I grew up riding bicycles without helmets, but that doesn't mean it was the best decision to make. Even though I survived, it doesn't mean it's the best decision. So whether you're riding a bicycle or downhill skiing or whatever other reason, wearing helmets is a good idea because if by chance you have an accident, the helmet really does avoid the head trauma. any kind of jostling to your brain, your brain is like soft butter, and it's housed in a hard cranium that has corners, and any little bump or big bump is really going to affect you for a long time. So be wise. Be wise. Protect your brain. As my friend Dina said, kiss your brain. Kiss your brain with a helmet. All right. T is for toxins. Sometimes we are around toxins and we don't even realize it. So what do I avoid? Well, avoid drugs. That's a toxin, right? Alcohol is a toxin. Mold, pesticides. My husband found that out the hard way. He's 11 years fully cured from lymphoma. It was caused because of pesticides that he was around on a daily basis. It's toxins. Some of the cleaning solutions or cleaning tools that we have in our homes, they're toxins. Heavy metals, anesthesia. I mean, anesthesia is necessary, right, for some surgeries, but it's still a toxin. So what can I do in this toxin category to create a healthy brain? Well, avoid toxins, right? But really support your 4 key organs, okay? Our gut is a key organ, so we want to eat fiber, eat our fiber. Kidneys are a key organ, so I support drinking water, lots of water. Another key organ is, our liver. No alcohol. Our liver loves us when we don't drink alcohol. And our skin. Our skin is a key organ. So by sweating or saunas, working out and creating a sweat or going into a sauna, that's really good. That helps release those toxins. All right, we're on to letter M, mental health. What's bad for our brain? Depression, bipolar, ADHD, chronic stress, PTSD, which is often because of a head trauma. Some of these things we think, well, I can't help that, right? I can't. Well, we can. First of all, exercise. Exercise, by the way, spoiler alert, the number one thing we can do that will affect every one of these 11 risk factors. Exercise helps our mental health. And Dr. Amen talks a lot about killing the ants in our brain. ANT, automatic negative thoughts. We'll have a whole section, a whole podcast episode on this topic alone. I teach and preach and believe the power of our thoughts. Our thought intelligence is so important to us. It really can heal our brain when we can learn how to kill the ants. Future podcast where we'll talk more about that. But let's go on to the next I, immunity and infections. Not good. Infections are not good for our brain, right? Diseases are not good for our brain. Allergies are not good for our brain. So what can we do to help our brain? Well, vitamin D, and here's my other supplement, the other supplement that I take. Vitamin D is very good for our brain. Here in North America, where most of we live, we don't get enough vitamin D. The sun will give us vitamin D. We don't have enough opportunities to see the sun or feel the sun just because of where we live in North America. So most people need to take vitamin D. Now, from all my Papua New Guinea friends who listen, you might not need vitamin D because you guys are like living on the equator. You have the sun all the time. But for us here in North America, it's important for us to really get enough vitamin D. Also here, when you're looking at things like allergies, diseases, infections, an elimination diet actually is really good for your brain because you're trying to figure out what's causing an allergy. Eliminating the gluten, eliminating dairy, eliminating some things that the doctor might guide you toward is really healthy because once you can figure out what's creating that immunity issue or that infection, now you're helping your brain. Some other food items, garlic, mushrooms, and onions. These items are really good for our brain. They truly do help fight away infections. They help with our immunity. More food items. And again, this is whole food, right? To take a garlic clove and press it into your food is a lot better than to open a jar of garlic and add a teaspoon. Just get a garlic press and buy the cloves. It's healthier. It's better for our brain. Next one is neurohormones. All right, neurohormones. Things like our testosterone, DHEA, abnormal thyroid, those are all bad for our brain if they're not at the right levels. So here, the thing I have for you is how do I know what these hormone levels are? Know your numbers and ask to get tested. You may have to pay a little extra because it's not part of a normal lipid panel, but get your hormones tested. Know what your numbers are. Know what your numbers should be. Don't be ignorant to it just because the doctor didn't tell you about it. Know your numbers. All right, D for diabetes. Here's where we really get into the food, okay? Many times, I'm struggling here right now. I'm struggling with the right words because the first thing that's bad for us is being overweight. Many times, diabetes is because of our weight. And this is such a touchy subject to talk about, right? But the more processed food we eat, the more sugar is in processed foods, all of this is increasing our weight through the years, which is increasing diabetes. And being overweight is bad for our brain. When our weight goes up, our brain size goes down. That's not good. That's not good. High blood pressure, diabetes, none of this is good. So what can I do? What can I do that affects this? Well, be calorie smart. When you're eating your whole foods, I'm going to get some sugar from this apple that I'm eating, but it's pure sugar from the apple. It's not added sugar. And that's where you really have to watch. You don't want added sugar. So I'm just taking this Creole Brew bag that I have, and it says total sugar 0 grams. Ooh, I love it. Includes 0 grams of added sugars. Awesome. That's awesome. They do list it separately, so you will know in everything that you choose to eat, if you buy it in a package, they're telling you how much added sugar. We want 0. We want 0. We don't need the extra. What else can I do? High fiber diet. I'm going back to my apple again. High fiber. I don't fiber and protein. That's my goal this year, to increase my fiber and protein. I was shocked when I found out how much I should be eating. We should have 100 grams of both every day. Protein and fiber. At least 100 grams of protein, if not more, and 100 grams of fiber. Now, here's a little secret. I'm starting to throw my pen around. That's what I'm doing. I'm starting to track my protein. It's the new year, and this is my goal. I want to eat over 100 grams of protein a day, but I don't really know what that looks like in my food choices. So far today, I've just been documenting the fiber that I know, and I'm up to 25, 35, 45, 55, 57, 58, 65, 66 and a half. Okay, it's 66 and a half grams, but how am I going to get more fiber? Well, that's the mission I'm on. But to increase your fiber, that was protein. To increase your fiber is going to help with diabetes. Okay, increasing protein as well is very good for you. So be mindful of that. Again, know your numbers. All right, and the final one here is S for sleep. What hurts our brain? Lack of sleep. Have you ever heard of a sleep hangover? I'm sorry, what do they call it? A social hangover. A social hangover is when you go out all night partying, like on New Year's Eve, and then the next day you're groggy, of course, because you didn't get good sleep, but you really don't catch up for like 3 days. So you have this sleep hangover or social hangover for up to 3 days. That's affecting your brain. What can you do to help your brain? Get 7.5 hours of sleep every single night, consistently, even New Year's Eve, even Friday nights, even Saturday nights. You know, I just read something the other day that said that hotels are starting to realize people are more interested in a good night's sleep and sleeping in than going out and partying. So they're starting to cater to that, like offering eye masks and diffusers with oil and different options for pillows so that we get a great night's sleep and even sleep in a little bit. All right, so what I just went through, bright minds, right? I just went through 11 different risk factors. What's bad for our brain? What's good for our brain? What 2 items or 2 things are going to help us in any and all of these areas? Well, I already told you exercise. That is number 1. Move your body. Number 2, eat smart. Get your protein, your fiber, avoid the processed foods. Watch your calories, but more so for the sugar reasons, not for calories itself, because your brain is going to use 20 to 30% of whatever calories you are putting in. So move your body and eat smart. I have so much more to share with you, but it's going to be for a new time. Next podcast, we'll share more. I hope that for today, though, I've challenged you a little bit to think differently about your brain and truly the power that you have to keep your brain healthy. In the beginning of this new year, please pick just one new habit to create that's going to heal your brain. For me, it's protein. What's yours going to be? Be great today, my friends. See you next time.